Welcome everybody to episode 3 of Most Man. I talked to my producer Zach, and he was, first off, thanks everybody that has watched, subscribed, and messaged, or just watched and liked it. He was shocked that we did that many views. He was like, normally it's only like 60 to, if it's something good. He's like, normally, people are in between 10, 15, because that's just counting your friends.
Yeah, I want to know who found us out of the blue. That's what's crazy.
Yeah. So anyway, welcome to episode 3 of Most Man. But he told me now I got to get my intro outro speech. So please like, subscribe, ring the bell, and leave messages. Because we want the messages. We want comments. So that's how we grow. Because we want to know what everybody thinks. And also now we're on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and iHeartMedia. That's audio only. If you want to listen to it in your car or wherever you're going. So now we're on YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartMedia. Boom. Please like, subscribe, ring the bell, and leave us some comments. So, but yeah. He was. We had a long conversation the other day, and he was like, "Man, normally it doesn't hit that hard right out of the gate." So, thank you, everybody. And I was shocked too. Yeah, I thought they were good. You could tell that we were rookies.
Oh yeah, I got some laughs out of it.
I was fun. It was fun. I mean, and that's what I was saying earlier, is I was shocked that I did that well in front of a camera. I just never expected myself to be in front of a camera.
Yeah, after like 15 minutes or something, it wasn't even like you were in front of, that's why it went 2 hours, because we were just, on a roll, I mean, I was comfortable. Yeah, and that's what everybody was saying, was like, golly, they're 2 and 3 hours. Well, in here, I mean, how fast did that 3 hours go by, that last one? I mean, fast. It goes by fast. I was shocked too. I was like, man, that was 3 hours. Right. Probably a good half hour of good content.
Yeah, but it goes by so fast. But if you're doing anything else, 3 hours is an eternity, man.
Oh, yeah. Go wait in line at the DMV or something. See what 3 hours feels like.
Yeah, hey. But in here it just goes boom, fast. I mean, it was shocking. But so today we're gonna start being a little bit more to where we'll have topics and all that, to where because it is so easy, especially when you got a hot idea on your mind, you just want to blurt it out, right? It's easy to do that, and then all of a sudden I lose train of my thought, and you lose train of what your point was, and then all of a sudden it was interesting to watch back over.
Then we wind up talking about Oklahoma or something, and we're like, where the hell did that come from?
Yeah, but it just that's what. So when I was watching them back, that's what I was like, man. And then too, I was cussing a lot. I mean, I didn't realize that I cussed that much. So I'm still gonna talk and be, and that's what you just don't not be yourself. But I was just like, whoa, man, I cuss a lot. Like, that was a lot of F-bombs, a lot of cussing.
You got to tone down the potty mouth over there.
Yeah. Well, I just didn't realize that I cussed that much.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Well, but anywhere else, there's no consequence. You know what I mean? But the other people could have been like, good God. I mean, Jesus, this guy cusses a lot. So I gotta, and I didn't, it's just funny. It's weird to watch yourself back. And then, because you're like, what, that, even though that is exactly how I normally act and talk and all that, but I was just like, man, thinking back in the business days, I had good etiquette in meetings and all that, but I still was the one that would just, I wasn't all corporate, corporate Jim over here, that. So I would just say what was on my mind, and it'd be like everybody at the conference table would be like, who is this guy? I'd show up and I'd go to a big corporate meeting or something, Martin Marietta or something. They're all suits and ties, and I walk in with my shorts and Crocs and a Columbia fishing shirt, and they're like, it's like, well, I own the company. Our dress code is what I feel like wearing today. I don't have to dress up like this.
Yeah, it's hot out. I can put a suit on. Yeah, I don't even know where to find it.
I don't even have one
somewhere.
No, I do have one, and the only reason why I got it is because for my mother-in-law's funeral.
I got one because I went to a wedding.
Yeah, but other than that, I don't have a suit. I never have.
I don't know how to tie a tie. When I was a kid, I had to clip on one there. And my brother, who's long dead, he tied the tie for me, a tie that I still have somewhere, so I can always, God knows what color it goes with anything else. But, I do got a pre-tied tie. If it ever comes undone, I'm screwed.
Yeah,
no. You can get on the internet and figure it out. You can figure anything out on the internet.
I'm a bow tie guy. If I have to do a tie, I'll do a clip-on bow tie. In fact, I've got one in there. Like, you can see this shamrock I've got a shamrock bow tie that was going to be part of our uniform. We were going to, that was going to be part of when we were thinking about getting back in the home services business and all that. That was going to be our uniform. Was we were going to have like a nice shirt but a work shirt, but everybody had to wear a bow tie. A big bright green shamrock.
That's a little much, but hey, it's the rules. Structure.
Well, we used to do the top hat and tails when we were in the chimney, like, because we started running TV commercials back when TV commercials were the thing, and so we all went out and I take that back. I had a tuxedo because we all went out and bought tuxedos because we did the top hat and tails for our TV commercial, and everybody started digging the top hats, so they started wearing them to the job site. I mean, people they loved it, and they remember it. It's like Dumb and Dumber. Okay, every time I've gone to a conference, you remember how Dumb and Dumber, how they showed up in their suits to that, was it a wedding that they were going to? Yeah, so like when I went to Podfest, which is to learn about podcasting and all that. There are these two guys there they had the yellow, or I think it was a yellow, and one was wearing a yellow one and one was wearing a pink one, and they're like fluorescent. So they stood out of a couple thousand people. Everybody's like, look at the guy in the Dumb and Dumber. It's all about standing out and putting it in people's memory. That was part of the whole marketing scheme of, it was either you had to get the ring, or you had to have something that it was so bold that they remember you by.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the top hat did it.
The shamrock worked well for you for years.
Yeah.
I still got all them koozies. They come up from time to time.
I'm down to my last 3 or 4.
Man, there was boxes of those things.
Oh, I know. But I'm down to the last 3 or 4 of those originals.
Yeah, you got to hang on to at least one, put it behind glass.
Yeah, there's one. There's one that's new that I'm not going to use.
What'd you buy, about 1,000 of those or something?
Oh, more than that. I think it was like 3,000.
Yeah, I remember the cases of them.
Well, they were cheap. They were cheap. I think for all that, I think that I paid. It was only like $1,500. It was cheap. They were like 20 cents a piece, or once you got that many, once you get in all those promo products, that's how they get you.
The setup fee and all of that.
Well, here's the pricing breakdown. You're paying. Well, you got to think about it. Once they turn that machine on, they're on your job. It's like doing T-shirts or anything else. they get you on the when I got the man cards printed, they're I think they're a couple bucks a piece. But if I get into the 10,000s and all that, they go down to 10 cents. You know, it's all the numbers game, and now setting up the machinery.
Well, we need all kinds of people to get a man card.
Yeah. So let's get into that. So today, so Most Men is about building better men. We have a men's, and that's what I want to cover this first go round is joining the men's club. What joining the men's club actually is, and what it does, and what the future of it's going to be, and what the plan. And it's still in raw format because we don't know how many people are going to get involved. And I'll get into that in just a second. So, Most Man is you get your man card, you get your man kit, you get your man card, you get your balls back, you get a 12-step program on how to maintain and retain. We're going to figure out some cool little swag like shirts, tumbler, you know, they're going through all the ideas right now to where we can develop the man kit. So if everybody that's listened to us already, we kind of explained what the man kit is. So send an email to info@themostmen.com, and if you want to get, so we're trying to, I don't want to do a pre-order yet. I want to kind of get it all bundled up before we start selling them. But I
got a guy hooked up. He's going to make us some Most Man cornhole games with a Most Man logo on it, and I'm jazzed on this.
Yeah, so we're going to do all sorts of, we're going to do shirts and hats and swag and all that kind of stuff. And that's where this isn't about making money on a podcast and YouTube and all that. That's where we'll make money on. That's going to be, you know, we want you to get something for what you spend your money. You got to, you know, I just don't want to do a money grab, a cheesy money grab. I don't want it to seem like it's all about the money. We really want to do something fun, something that people will enjoy, you know, and
something that people are proud of when they show their buddies or something, you know, like, everybody got your Most Man cornhole game or something. Nothing says you're your own man like having your own cornhole game and drink beer and play cornhole for 8 hours.
Yeah.
But nobody telling you what to do.
Yeah. So when you join the men's club, and that's jointhemensclub.com, that'll circle into our Most Man website, and that's where all the man kits and all that will be available once we get them up. They're not up yet. The website's up, but we just don't have any apparel on the website yet. So when you buy your man kit, you join the men's club, okay? And by joining the men's club is you're amongst your peers. You're in the men's club. You got your bragging rights. And again, this is all meant to be. It's meant to be very serious, but it's meant to be very, very fun too. It doesn't need to be seeming like a job or, oh, I'm so messed up that I got to join the men's club. So it's supposed to be fun, and it's rubbing elbows with your buddies and just having fun. It's not like we're all a bunch. I'm definitely not going to save the world. I can guarantee you that. But we do want to help. Okay, so when you join the men's club, so I have been in business for myself since I've been 17, and I've had this idea shelved for 15 years just because back then I didn't know how to market it. And if we were going to market it to really kick off, it was like we were going to have to go hit the bars or something, you know what I mean? And
you're kind of busy running
a business. And then I had two daughters. My son wasn't born yet, but I had two daughters. So, I don't want to be going to the soccer games because both of my daughters were very. My middle daughter, she'll end up getting a scholarship on soccer, but I didn't want to be the dad. I didn't want to be the dad going to the soccer games, going, "Hey, Mr. Mahoney, how you doing? This is it's been John, and oh, yeah, I'm in the energy business. What do you do? Oh, I'm in the business of getting guys their balls back, Oh, well, that's great, Mr. Mahoney. We're moving on to the next parents, So I didn't want to embarrass. But then too, the idea was so virgin back then. I didn't want it to be cheesy. I didn't want it to be cheap. I didn't want it to be, and
you didn't want to force it,
No, well, and I'd already done my part. I still drink, but I'm just saying that's the last thing you want to do when you're married with kids is you go get back in the bar scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially when your kids were what, 4 or 5.
Yeah, they were young. They were young. They were 4 or 5 and 2. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to justify. I'm not doing research, honey. Oh, you're drunk again.
Yeah, well, but the thing was that, well, number one, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to have to go through the bar scene. It would have been a hard thing to launch. The social media was just starting to really come up, and it was kind of it's like when cell phones came out. I'm not getting a cell phone, and everybody's got one now, but that was kind of the same thing. I was the same way. I was like, I don't want my life on the internet. I don't. I got too much stuff to do, and I don't think my life is that important for me to be putting stuff out on the internet for people to see. I was like, I'm having a hamburger for dinner. I don't need to tell you that I'm having a hamburger for dinner, So now that social media, and the platforms that we have, after I broke my foot that one time, I was laying in bed for like 6 weeks, and that's when I got really addicted to YouTube. I started figuring it. I was like, whoa, here it is. This is perfect for this because it's it's fun. It's fun. We can have fun doing it, not take ourselves too seriously, but really do something that can help, and we can all have fun with it. So,
yeah, that'd be the day I take myself too serious. But I think I'm a good fit because I got good ideas, and I've done a lot.
Yeah,
I've done a lot wrong. Know what not to do. That's half the battle.
Yeah. So when you join the men's club, so when I went to the Podfest, and I've done this at several conferences, business conferences, to where we talked about it the other night, but a lot of people know about these, but a lot of people don't. And I didn't know about it till probably 7 or 8 years ago, maybe somewhere in there. But these things called masterminds. Okay. Mastermind it's like a think tank, but what you do, like, so I went to this Podfest, and I paid the premium to where I got to meet all the most influential people there. I was in the VIP, the VIP tag, where you're running with all the top the producers, influencers, the people putting on the show and all that, but they had they allowed me into their mastermind. Now, I'd been to some other masterminds before, but it wasn't as intense as this one. And I didn't know that they're really, really that popular. But all it is just a real simple, quick version. It's a think tank. So, but they were wanting me to pay like, it was expensive. They wanted me to pay like $20,000-$25,000 after I went to the first one. And all it is it's a group of 10 very intelligent, successful business people, podcasts, just in that industry, whatever the industry is. You're dealing with people that have really been successful. They know what they're doing. And that's where people come together, and you feel safe that you can talk about your ideas, and you bounce stuff off of each other, and you come out of one of them going, well, it feels like your brain's done 1,000 push-ups, number one, because you're just, how when you talk to somebody and you get it's like drinking from the fire hose full of information. You know what I mean? It's so much information. You walk away going, God, if I'd have known that 10 years ago, man, I could have saved so much money, or you know what I mean? Like it's.
Yeah, I've been to seminars before, mechanical, compressor or something, and it's real intricate and deep, interesting stuff. But the next day, it felt like you did a hard day's work, man. You're like, why the hell am I so tired? It was like, I never really focused and thought that hard on one thing for 6 hours before.
Yeah.
And it like you say, drink it out of a fire hose.
It's the information. It's the information overload. And it's happened to me several times. And I remember when the concrete company was doing the rocket ship thing, and I hired some people from the other company that went under, that caused our rocket ship rise. They came over, and the first 2 days they were like, I can't do this. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And that's what it was. It was like, yeah, now you actually got to work. You can't just sit around and play on your phone. We work here.
No wonder their company went under.
Yeah.
Maybe the bosses should have came over to your place.
Well, that's what I was saying. I was like, no, over here you got to work over here. And I'll work just as hard as you. Like, you got to keep up with me, or you can't be here. But the original premise of joining the men's club is to create a kind of mastermind type atmosphere, think tanks, to where we bring in other people, whether it be professionals, business owners, our business colleagues, friends, but people that have actually done something in life, that have achieved and accomplished. And and we'll have a membership section for the men's club. Like, there will be a membership, but you'll get something out of it. And it's like, for you, as an example, this is why I brought you in and when we started talking, like, you really understood it, right? So that's today. Joining the men's club is the people that we're going to bring in. They're not going to be like life coaches or anything like that, but I want it to be like a mastermind mindset, think tank, to where, but certain individuals, like, I don't know everything. I know a lot about business and all sort. I'll get into my strengths here in a minute, but everybody's got their different strength. And collectively, that's basically what happens in those masterminds. Is you walk out, because there's 10 people in there that are ultra smart. You're ultra smart too, but you're in there with 10 ultra smart people that have all got a different perspective, and you all learn from each other, and it's so good information. And and it doesn't take that long. Sit down for an hour, just over coffee or whatever. We're going to do these online, though. We're going to have like YouTube lives, and, where people can comment in live time, and, so, but by bringing you on, that's why me and you have got along. Well, me and Tim can argue just as much as we have fun, then the reason why I loved him is because I'm the sky is blue kind of guy, because I'm a visionary. That's my strength. I'll come up with all these ideas, and if it wasn't for a guy like Tim, I'm thinking about getting down the road and what the 5-year plan looks like. Tim's looking at, like, okay, today's problem is, and this is the go ahead. You're not a pessimist, and it's not a negative thing. It's a very good thing. But some people, if you're closed-minded, you know what I mean? If you're closed-minded, you would think, wow, man, that's kind of harsh. Well, hey, man, harsh is what gets on my radar. Go ahead.
Well, it's like probabilities, some people, like, the sky is blue, right? Rich is one of them, the big picture.
Right.
And And there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, you got to have that.
You got to have the vision of where you want to go, but you got to understand what it takes to get there too. And it's like if you ever play that game In Between with the two card, you flip a card up and a card up, you get a king and a two, and you bet however much you want against the pot or the whole pot, the next card's going to be between a king and a two. Most men see that king and two, and they're like, bam, yeah, man, I'll bet the pot. Well, there's an ace can beat you, another king or a two. There's a lot of cards out there, but they see that king and two, and it just looks like there's no way I can lose. There's a lot of ways to lose. Hell, you can lose on an ace-ace if another ace comes up.
Yeah.
So you're gonna bet your house? You only got one house. You better not bet your house. You might want to think, well, how many cards have come through here? I mean, did the deck just start? Did I see another ace there along the way? My brain looks into how can I get burned? I get called negative a lot. It's not that I'm negative. It's just I'm not just blindly positive. And there's a lot to be said for that. We were doing a job not too long ago. We had to run a pipe down and over or over and down, a conduit for some wires. And everybody was talking about, well, what's the best way to go? It was literally the same. It was like 100 feet this way, 30 feet this way, or 30 feet this way and 100 feet that way. Kind of doesn't matter, does it? Well, they were like, well, there's some brackets up here we can use, and there's this giant sprinkler pipe going, and this is 30 feet in the air, and about 20 feet up, there's this giant sprinkler pipe over there. Well, you got to go on a man lift to do all of this stuff. That they were blocked. You couldn't get up to do it that way. So I pointed this out, and everybody went, oh yeah, okay, all right, we'll go this way. They'd still be trying to decide an hour later, but they were shut out before they ever got started. Look at the big thing that's just the kibosher before you get going.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to buy a car. Hey, I want a new car. Well, do you want to write a check for it? No, I don't got the money. Can you get a loan for it? Well, I could, but I don't want to. Well, then quit talking about getting a car. You ain't getting a new car because you don't want to pay for it.
Yeah.
That's how people get new cars, because they're like, well, I wanted it. Well, guess what? Now you got to pay for it, and all of a sudden, 3 months later, it's not a good idea when you're eating pork and beans because you didn't think it through.
Yeah. No, well, but I am that same way. Like that's my... But I figured out, and we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this test that me and my dad did. I hired a consulting company to come in, and basically it's a personality test, but it's meant for business, to where you can really gauge. Or we'll have that available in the men's club. You know what I mean? That's gonna be part of because you know what you're dealing with. Like, me and my dad used to argue every day. At the end of the day, we'd stand around and drink, split a 12-pack. That was our daily routine. And I would just be in his ear about what needed to be fixed and what happened that day. Okay? Thinking that, okay, I got those problems out of the way, so tomorrow, we're good. Come back tomorrow, and it's the same thing that he did yesterday. And I'm like, did you not hear a word that I said? So we took this personality test, and I got tired of fighting it. I was like, man, I don't understand the difference between an owner and an employee. Okay, they're there for a paycheck. I'm there to build a business, right? So you have to get that understanding out of the way first. Why don't they do what I want them to do? It's because they don't care. They're just worried about Friday. A lot of them do care, though. I mean. But I'm just saying, in general, they're there for a paycheck.
They don't care enough to change what they're doing. Right. Some care more than others, but they're still creatures of habit.
Yeah. So we took this personality test, and basically she came back, and boy, I mean, this woman was tough. I forgot that I signed her up, and she showed up, and it was 1 week that I did not need her showing up. She was there for 3 days. So she's like, I'm here to do your evaluation on your company. And I was like, well, you're going to have to come back. And she's like, no, I'm here and we're getting started. And I'm like, look, you can get out of my office. Like, nobody tells me, not that nobody tells me what to do, but I mean, you don't know what a big week I've got this week, and I don't need you in it. So we took this test, but it's all about business too. It's not just your personality. But basically it came back and she was like, okay, this is what you're dealing with, and this is why we did it, is because you live in a factual world and your dad lives in a fantasy world. Okay? Because on his is like, what do you want out of this company? What do you expect to get from this company? And his answers were, I want at least $1 million, and it's like, well, we got to get there first, I mean,
and a unicorn, and
and a pink Cadillac with my name on the license plate and all that. And so that's what I'm saying is he heard what he wanted to hear, and that was it. But it stopped everything. She said, okay, now quit trying to make him you. He's not you, and he's never going to be you. Don't expect him to do. But but here's what I found out is that he was so good in so many other areas. I wasn't using him to his full potential. And when I did, that's when it was just like, whew, turnaround, 180. I mean, he's standing at attention and he's getting shit done.
Yeah, he was a hammer, and you're using him for a screwdriver.
Exactly.
Once you found out he was a hammer, then it worked better.
Yeah, and so the men's club is going to be kind of built like that to where we're going to bring in guys like Tim. That's why there's, again, this is not a money grab, but people's time are worth something. And it's all going to be cheap. It's not going to be expensive. It ain't no mastermind prices. I mean, those things are awesome, but joining the men's club is going to be one big mastermind for a very, very low rate for the people that want to join. Now all of your peers, like a lot of I haven't even told my peers yet. They know about this, but I didn't share to all of my peers the video or the podcast. This went to 10. You showed it with your peers, and I've got a company in California that is doing a lot of our creative social media stuff and all that, websites and all that. They may have done some advertising or something like that, but realistically, all of the ones that have watched are a handful of my people and pretty much all your contacts. But they're not going to want to. I mean, they want to join the men's club just to have fun, but we need people that. Like, there could be some of your peers, could be some of my peers, but just even if you're out there and you can bring something to the table, I'm open to talk to anybody, but we're going to have think tanks where that person, if you're in their think tank, that's what he's good at. Like, my think tank is going to be about, I'm not saying this is the only thing it's going to be about. I'm just giving an example.
Yeah.
That I am very creative. I can whip a vision up. I can shoot a business plan together real quick. And I mean, not a business plan on paper. I'm talking like a realistic plan that will get you where you want to go. Like that's my strong suit, is starting from zero and building the hero. Okay. Now, I'm not saying I'm the best, but that's what I'm good at. And I'm good under pressure. I'm good at keeping the train on the tracks, because employees they'll derail you every day. It's structure. We've talked about structure.
But whoever you're talking to has to be committed to that program, because, if somebody's, like, the concrete business, like you always said, it was a trucking business. It wasn't a concrete business.
Oh,
but somebody could go, no, man, I want to pour some concrete's good, man. I know this home builder. And you're like, dude, you ain't in the concrete business. You're in the trucking business. And maybe that's a concept that they never even thought about.
That is exactly what I'm talking about. Is I went to a mastermind with a couple of guys from they've sold the company, but Charlie's Concrete. They were like a friendly competitor. We helped each other out if in need. We were still competitive when we were bidding jobs, but like if my plant broke down, they'd let me batch out of their plant And that's exactly what, and it happened at the perfect time too. They said, Mark, I don't know how you keeping the train on the tracks. You are growing so fast. And I was like, it's out of my control. I can't help it. And they said, well, here's my best piece of advice. First thing you need to know is that concrete is just the product that you're hauling. You are in the trucking business. You've got to learn how to make money with your you're in the trucking business first. Concrete business second. So you better figure out your plan on keeping your fleet alive.
Yeah,
efficiently and that, because those big trucks, it doesn't matter what you're hauling. It doesn't matter what your commodity is. Those tires are expensive. Everything on those trucks is expensive. And the drivers, they get in, sit down, turn the radio up. Where am I going? A to B. They don't care what happens to the product. They don't care what happens to but that's a point of what I'm saying about these think tanks, is that yes, and it's going to grow over time. I'm not like saying we've got all these people sitting around waiting to go, who can I help? You know what I mean? Like this is going to be, I want it to be natural. I want it to be genuine. I want it to be right. And people that want to be a part of it, they enjoy being a part of it, because it's not like, yeah,
I know a bunch of retired people, and heck, they're chock full of knowledge, and they'd be happy to share what they know.
Yeah. And it's just it's the little things. It's the stuff that you don't know about, like what we were talking about on the last podcast. It's just the stuff you don't know that somebody else knows, that's been through it, and it cost them a lot of money, or it really did something to them. And
yeah, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, and if you go to a think tank or anything like that, you just walk out going, God, I wish I'd have known that 5 years ago. But now I know, and we're going to prepare for that not to happen. That was the beauty of Johnny Piano. I didn't know nothing about concrete, but it wasn't just Johnny Piano, but it was, I got to see people in real time. Johnny's not a really good example. It would be more the guy that was my competitor that went under. That's who I learned a lot from too, because he was one of those, because the concrete business, there's a lot of money flowing, a lot of money, but you're moving a lot of money is all you're doing.
Yeah, you're just trying to keep some of it.
Yeah. So,
the gross doesn't matter if the net's not there.
This guy could only survive. He only survived like 3 or 4 months of when the market tanked. He was done. He was toast. And if you looked at his life on the outside, this guy had airplanes, boats, yachts, every freaking thing that a big fat cat would have.
He was playing musical chairs, and when the music stopped, he was caught deer in the headlights.
Yeah.
He didn't have the backing or
Yeah. Yeah, and I was like, okay. Because I was always in the concrete business was the first company that I actually had a bank note. I never took a bank note loan for any. I started it all with my own money, ran it with all my own money. I've got a 9th grade education. Okay, I've learned by the school of hard knocks, but I'm just saying. I'm not saying that I didn't know that you couldn't go get a business loan. I was just like, who's going to loan me money to start a business? You know what I mean? That was never even in my thought. I learned to really manage my money. So when I sold the company, so I saw what happened to him. So when I sold my company, the guy that I hired also sold his company on the fire sale. But when I sold my company, it was because they wanted to buy me, right? But
yeah, you weren't wanting out; they were wanting in.
Yeah,
that's a big difference.
So what he does, he's a business broker, and he comes in and, you know, makes sure the EBITDA and all that stuff is all correct, and that way the corporate people can see it the way they want to see it. So he came in and he was like, "Good God," he's like, "Your cash flow is incredible. Like, how do you maintain these?" I said, "Man." He's like, where's your payroll? You know, why aren't you taking at least $150,000, $200,000 salary? And I was like, dude, I don't need a salary to justify my existence. I mean, I'll take a salary enough to pay my bills, and if I need something, I'll take a hit, and then I'll pay the tax on it at the end of the year. You know, if I need a chunk of money, I'll just take a draw, you know, and it'll show up on my income. I don't need to be paying tax on money that I don't need. This concrete, my rule of thumb, it's the same thing. In that he's like, you've got enough cash flow in here to ride this thing out for 6 months. He's like, nobody has this kind of money in the bank running their company. And I was like, well, why not? Because all it takes is a week of rain, and there's $300,000 or $400,000 down the tubes. You know what I mean? Why wouldn't you have cash flow in the bank?
Because the last thing you want to do is have to go get money to put back in it, you know.
And when you need money from the bank, they're like, whoa, for what? So when you really need it, that's when you can't get it.
Yeah, and your CPA makes all the money, because then you got to get the profit and loss and the, you know, what's your current, you know, have you filed an extension? Have you I mean, you know, they ask you a million questions, and your CPA is always right in the middle of it, answering them all, and you get to pay him.
Yeah, but now my banker, we became good friends early on, and I hope I can get him on this podcast, because I talked to him the other day when I was in his office. You know, gave him his man card and all that. And he was laughing his ass off. Once I told him the concept of it, he's like, Jesus. So, but he taught me at an early on. He's like, look, man. He's like, get everything you want. When you come to me and get a loan, you need to get everything you want plus some. Okay? Because once you come back, that when you didn't think it through and you need it, he said, that's when you're not going to get it. Because banks do not like loaning money when you're under pressure. Nobody would. I mean, that'd be 101 in their world, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
If this guy's got the strap, why loan him money? Let him sink his ship.
It's like rolling dice or something at a casino, and your buddy's like, "Hey, man, you got another 100?" And you got another 100. And it's like, well, you started with 500. And you're, yeah, but just give me another 100 at some point, you know. Yeah, I know you're my buddy, but, you know, I got to do you a favor here, you know.
Yeah.
Go get a Coke.
Yeah, and this is my money.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're good for the $300, but it's really, you know, you're drunk and you're chasing, you know, just chasing.
Oh, yeah. The first time I played craps, this was the first out-of-town date that me and my ex-wife went on. We went to the boats. We went to Louisiana. And this is the first, I'm a blackjack guy. This is the first time I played craps. And all I saw were the numbers on the field. I was like, man, those are a lot of numbers. That's better odds than 7 and 11 or what. I don't even know how to play craps. I'm not even going to pretend I know. But all I saw was the field.
Yeah.
And man, I'm snake eyes, and everybody's going, give me a 12, because it pays.
The more the better.
Yeah. So,
back to back.
Go field, and I'm drunk, and I made like $10,000. Okay. Because there, when you make $10,000, they have to make you pay your tax or whatever. So I did that. Was drunk, but I was at a different hotel. That we were staying at the Isle of Capri, and I was at some other one. I can't remember which one it was. Harrah's. I was at Harrah's. But so I go back to our hotel. No, take that back. I went and paid my tax, and I was like, I'm going to do that again. But I did this twice in one night. So just the first time, so I'm walking around 10 grand in my pocket, I think I'm the man, I'm going to go do this again. And, man, I went out there and lost every red penny. And I told my girlfriend then, I said, come pick me up at like 2 o'clock in the morning. We had a set time. And I'm sitting out there on the bench, drunk. I can't even get another drink because I'm not gambling. And I'm just like, just lost all. So I won it all, lost it all. Okay. Couldn't even make a phone call. Didn't have enough money that's back when we pay phones, So takes me back to Isle of Capri. She's like, you lost it all? And I was like, yeah. I said, but I'm going to get it back. And it's 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm on the phone. This is back when you get on your phone and transfer money to your debit account, like from savings to checking to where you could use your debit. I got like $2,500. Went down there, got up again, and lost it all. Twice. So the next day, we're going home, and this is our first date out of town. And here, I just showed what a loose cannon I am when I'm drinking, right? And she, I couldn't even buy, because my debit card was shut off. There was no more money in my account. And I did it so many times that I did like a fraud alert.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah.
It's like, no way this dude's legit.
Yeah. So,
that's funny, man.
So I couldn't even buy gas on the way home. I couldn't even buy us lunch. I couldn't string up enough money to just even buy us lunch. And that's when I knew. I was like, man, stick to what you know. Blackjack. I'm good at blackjack. Steady at blackjack. But
well, here's what I know. If I had 10 grand in my pocket, I'd know to get the hell out of there. That's what I'd know.
Yeah. Actually,
I never would have won 10 grand. I'd have been out of there when I got up 2 grand. I'd have been happy as hell right there.
Well, but they know what they're doing. They just keep pumping if you're drinking mixed drinks, all of a sudden it's doubles and triples. They know what to do. Get your ass drunk.
Well, you got to have some structure. You got to beat the game.
Yeah. Well, blackjack, I'm slow and steady. I mean, I've won a bunch of money in Vegas. I fell asleep at the table with $35,000 in chips.
Yeah, that's out of control.
Yeah. This girl next to me, I was just shoving her $100 chips to keep her in the game because I was getting all the good cards. I was like, don't leave. I will keep you in. And I just kept her in the game because she wasn't losing, but she wasn't winning the way I was. I was playing like 3 hands at a time, 2 or 3, if they let you. But the way to make money in Vegas and blackjack is in the middle of the night when all the dumbasses are sleeping, because now you're playing with people that know how to play the game. You know what I mean? Like you'll have 4 or 5 guys working a table that actually know how to play, and they're not hitting stupid shit. Oh, come on, honey, hit it. You're just 4 away from a blackjack. Hit. And they just screwed everybody else at the table, So, yeah.
But see, to me, cards are random, so it's got just as good a chance of helping you as it hurting you in my mathematical brain.
Well, I just won't gamble. I won't gamble unless I like it, but it's to me it's a really risky way of making money.
I absolutely hate losing more than I like winning.
Yeah.
So when I'm shooting craps, I mean, I can make $200 last 6 freaking hours, and that sometimes I win, get my 200 back or a little more, or well, I literally can string it out forever and ever and ever.
Well, I can walk away. That first time at the boats.
No, I don't want to walk away.
No, I'm just saying. I always walk away with money because I learned on that trip. I was like, man, that is not the way to do this. You've always been steady with blackjack, but I walk away normally with money. I don't, because blackjack's one of them things. If I take $2,000 to gamble, I'll gamble on it. If it's gone, then it's done. I'm not going to the ATM machine again or any of that. I'm not.
No,
gambling doesn't mean that much to me. I mean, there was one time we went on this family vacation on a Norwegian cruise ship, and I was playing blackjack, and I had every green chip. My towers were moving with the waves. That's how many chips I had. They were like, "You got to turn those in for hundreds," and I said, "I'm not stopping until I get every single one of them. I want every one of them." Drunk, stupid. Just then I went into the high stakes room with this guy was in there betting 30, 40 grand a hand. I was like, wrong room. This is not for me. So all right, so back to this is how fast it and how easy it is to get sidetracked when we're doing these things. You know what I mean? Do you hear that sound it's making? Weird.
Better you than me.
Yeah, I think it's just because my case is broke. It's just vibrating the case. But yeah. So joining the men's club, we want it to be fun, and we want to build it to where it's kind of like a club, and everybody can share information with everybody and learn, and it's not if you don't do it this way. No, look. This happened to me, and I stubbed my toe. You may
want to consider this, because their situation might be just a little bit different than your situation, and doing it exactly the way you said it isn't the right way of doing it because there's factors you don't know about. But if you have all the information, then you can make your own decision.
Yeah, it's just like the crazy part about how fast we grew in the concrete business. It was fast, but the thing. Walking away from it, because it went from I was just running a regular business. You've got a regular business, and you think you know how things are going. You know what I mean? You think that you're dialed in and you're plugged in, but when it hits that next level, there's a whole other level of enormity of just you learn that. Johnny would be a good example of that. He would understand what I'm talking about when you get to that level, especially in not just the concrete business, but you can have an independent business, but then when you've got a bunch of employees on your hand, there is all sorts of other stuff that you got to worry about that you didn't have to really worry about when you were smaller.
Well, and you got salesmen, and what if there's a little bit of a shortage in something, then you got all that allotment, or what do you call it, where they, you can't get all the material you want. You could sell more than you could get, but, then not that you're being cut off or not paying, but.
Well, this wasn't part of my business plan. I didn't know that once we got to that level, is that exactly what you're saying about my suppliers, cement, sand, gravel. They play games with you, man, to control the price, B, control the flow, which if you don't play their game.
Or maybe to help some competitor of yours too. You don't know what's going on in the smoke-filled back room.
Well, it happens all the time. And that's then all of a sudden you learn that it's like how without getting into politics, but just the government, it's all the politics that are in the bigger game that you didn't have to deal with before. You just were getting what you need, and now you're competing against your suppliers. You're competition for your suppliers. That's where they put the thumb on you. But it's any industry. Once you get up in that corporate level, I mean, you're dealing with people that are college educated. You're dealing with some sharp guys that they're working as a team
to manipulate the whole program.
Yes.
And you're either on the ins or the outs, or you're in between on the ins or the outs.
And they'll use a guy to front to see if you take the bait. They'll send the little, the sacrificial lamb to you to say, "Hey, Mark, let's go have some beers and some barbecue," and all, starting to buddy up with you to where he wants to get you comfortable to get you to open up about your business. And then they use that against you. There's a strategy to all their whole. It's a whole nother ball game of. But then these guys that are doing this, what used to really drive, and that's what drove me to do. I started figuring it out on my end, how to play the game. Okay, but is that none of them have ever ran a business before. They've never started a business. They don't know how to run a bit. They don't know how hard it is. They don't know any of that, but they've got your thumb, their thumb right on the back of your head. Don't move it.
Here they cut you off, and then when you're squirming, then they ride in with the white horse and give you what you needed, but they're the reason you didn't have it to begin with, and then they want brownie points for saving you, and they're the ones that screwed you.
Yeah, or
anywhere in between.
At first, what I didn't understand was the whole payables and receivable thing. You know, I always paid my bill. I didn't worry about whether. But one of my salesmen, he told me, he said, just make sure you're within 90 days. And, you know, I'll come by, we'll have a beer. This is the salesman I'm talking about. I'll come by, we'll have a beer. They don't mind getting into you or letting you get into them for money and use them as a bank, because that's how they control their inventory with you. So it's either the one way or the other. They will allow certain people that would pay their bills on time or regular, you know, to get the regular payments set. They wouldn't mind letting you work off their money because you're buying most of your product from them because they're giving you leeway. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Well, you got to be careful with that, because what happens is you put all your eggs in one basket and stuff gets tight. And you want to go to the other suppliers and they're like, no, you told us no. And, you gave all your business to them. Go get it from them.
Yeah, you're all buddied up with them. Go call your buddy.
Yeah, yeah. Or we'll sell it to you at 25% higher than what you're paying over there if you need it. So you have to have that even balance. But they're constantly playing at games on their other end. I had another salesman that this guy was such a twerp. I'm not into dogpiling people or, shooting somebody's name out. There's certain people, yes, but it ain't going to make a difference with him. But he used to call me when material we went through some cement and sand shortages here in Texas because the economy is just booming. And sand and gravel got tight, cement got tight, everything got tight.
Well, TxDOT was buying all of it because they were pouring freaking highways everywhere.
Well, that's what started it, was that toll road. That Chisholm Trail is what started the whole damn shortage. They wanted that thing open and they were doing it. So, but he used to call me. He goes, "You know what I love about my job? Listen to how sick this is, okay?" He goes, "Mark, you know what I love about my job?" I said, "What's that?" He said, "Every Wednesday, I get to call." What was his? I wanted the exact words because it was so. He said, every Wednesday I get to play God.
Jeez, that's a little much.
Yeah, he said, every Wednesday I get to play God and let everybody know how much material they can get this week. I get to play God. And I was like, you sick son of a bitch. Why would you tell anybody that? But there's people out there like that. I've got the power now. Not you. I've got the power. I get to play God. And I was like, oh.
The headline, God gets his ass beat out behind the concrete plant. Yeah, that's a little much, man.
Well, it was the same way in all that deal that I was doing over in Kuwait. People play so many stupid games in business. That's what I'm saying about joining the men's club is you don't even have to be in business for yourself or this happens, all of your generation and all of your peers and all that. A lot of my peers get it. Some do, some don't. Well, if they're in the corporate world, they get it. But what I'm saying, this for the younger generation, or if they even start listening to us, whatever, is that this is the stuff that I'm talking about, that if you don't know it, if you don't know that's going on, you're just walking in blind. And they're just waiting for you. Oh, man. That's like when we'd go fishing. I'd have a charter. It'd be me and the other captains, a couple other boats, Chuck and Kirk. Shout out Kirk Hallett. He died. This guy was him and Chuck were just two ungodly men. But anyway, Chuck's still alive. But anyway, we used to sit around in the morning, drinking coffee or whatever we were drinking, getting ready to go. And they would pull up and we were making bets what crew was ours. You know what I mean? Like, what group of dumbasses do I have this morning? Because it was the same thing every morning. You got the drunk guy, putting his cowboy, let's go fishing, and they're all walking down to the dock, and one guy, you can tell that he's never even seen water before, and he went to Bass Pro Shop and bought every fishing shirt, shorts, flip-flops.
Everything he owns still has price tags on it.
Yeah, he has no clue what he's getting into, okay? But they're all still drunk. They're all walking up, and it's like, hey, man, did you get the sandwiches? No, but I got the beer. Oh, man, did you get your snacks? No, but I got the beer. No, they got the sunscreen? No, but I got the vodka. I got it's like, you got 6 drunk guys getting on your boat that they think that you're about to have as much fun as them, and you're the guy to take them. But it was the same thing every morning. It was we'd bet all. I mean, it was $20 here and there. It was the same thing every morning. 6 rednecks that they've been saving their money for a whole year, and you're the guy to make their dreams come true.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. Have 6 drunk dudes in your face all day long. Hey, Captain! Where's the fish? It's like they're in the water.
Help us untangle our lines again for the 30th time when you're telling them, don't cast over the other guy, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, or I'd sit there and watch it every time. You're getting a bite. I thought I felt something. Well, you don't have any bait anymore, so reel it up. Well, I'm going to leave it down there just a little bit longer. No, you don't have any bait. This isn't bass fishing. This isn't perch jerking.
Didn't bump your worm down there.
Yeah, no. Pull it up. You have no bait. These things. So I ended up coming up with because I got and that's exactly what they would do. They'd take their pole. Well, there's a 6 to 8 ounce weight that it takes to get that down there. And they're swinging it in my face. Need some more bait. I'm like, the net and the bait tank is right there. I spoiled them at first, and then I was like, oh, man, because they'd swing the hook right in your face. I need some more bait. Yeah, I think I'm caught up in the motor. Well, there's seals back there. If those seals get fishing line in them, we're not going home. It'll burn through the seals. And it'll burn your lower unit up. And it's just, oh, God. It was a lot of fun, but, man. But I came up with I should sell it, but it's called the Texas Greenhorn Rig.
What's this about?
What's so they can't not catch a fish. Because we all use circle hooks or J hooks but these fish bite so fast. On a circle hook, you can't just yank up on it, because that's why they designed them, so you don't. It makes it fairer for the fish, because it won't get in all of his throat and all of that stuff. You know what I mean? It ended up killing the fish just because you yanked so hard that it ripped his throat out, And now he just dies.
And you didn't even catch the fish.
You didn't even catch the fish.
Right.
Yeah. So the circle hook makes it a little bit more fair for the fish. But they also, the beauty of them is they always hook right here in the side of the mouth every time. Every time. So getting it off for somebody is just that easy. Okay. But when you're getting a bite, you don't yank up or you'll just yank it straight out of their mouth. That's the whole point. You point your rod tip towards the water, slowly reel, and start pulling up. And then he'll hook himself. And then you're on. But explaining that to him, it would take an hour. And we'd lose so much bait. And they're just, man, I thought we were going to catch some fish. It's like, good God, dude. If you weren't so stupid, you had already had 10. You'd be sitting down drinking beer because you had your limit. We'd be moving on to something else. This is not the only species out here. Because that would be red snapper and grouper fishing. So, but I don't want to give a secret away in case I sell it. I'll tell you after the show. But yeah, it's a guaranteed, because they're all, hey man, hand me a beer, and their poles sitting there doing this, So, yeah. But
yeah, don't be a most man.
No.
They're most
man. God. There were a lot of fun trips, but
it was work. You were there to work, and
yeah,
it was work.
Yeah.
Now just cleaning the boat when you're done's work.
Oh, that whole thing was, it was a lot of fun, but all that's over. So, but yeah, it's back to the men's club thing. The long term, that's kind of my vision right now, is just turn it into a mastermind that anybody can get in. Now, we'll have some leaders if they want to be leaders, or not leaders, but over certain think tanks that because that's what they're good at. Like I said, I'm good at the vision, the building, the whole. I know what to expect once we get to the top. So that start out 100% correct down here, so you don't have to worry about all that. And that's what you are. You're my yin to my yang. See what I'm saying? You shut me down all the time, exactly when I need to be shut down. Because I'll get motor racing. I'm way down the road.
Oh yeah, I just laugh like, oh God, here he goes again in full throttle, freaking,
But you have to have that to some certain extent. But that was my dad, and that was Boom. They were my counterweight to me. You know what I mean? Boom was the mechanical guy. He was.
Well, yeah, you're going to go on a cross country trip. Well, where are you going to stop and get gas? I mean, blah blah blah. There's what I'm not saying don't go. It's just, are you going to take some sandwiches with you? Or, where are you going to get gas? Are you going to sleep in the car? Or are you going to, get a hotel? There's just check things off in your brain to make the trip more enjoyable.
My brain don't think like that.
I know. You just sleep in your underwear in the desert and get bit by fire ants and get up in the morning and go, yeah, let's go. But
no, I'd have a hotel, but I'm just saying, like my wife or ex-wife, that was her part of the vacation. She was good at that. I'm not good at picking out hotels, and I don't care. Like you say, it's a pretty rough analogy, but yeah, I just need a bed. We're not going to be in the hotel room. If we're going on vacation, I want to be out doing what's offered out there. I don't want to be in a room. What's the room?
No, I'm talking like on the road trip.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll just get a hotel. You're in the middle of the desert. There ain't a hotel. You should have thought about this. The sign that said no gas for 300 miles. You might want to think there was no hotel into 300 miles. If they don't have gas, they don't have hotels.
Well, this is a perfect point of that, because Boom and my dad were that. They were my counterweight to all of that of what you're talking about, and they were good at it, and that's why they were a part of the circle. Okay, but here was my biggest shot to my gut that I ever had, is when I sold the company. When I sold the company, it took a couple of days for it to sink in, And the money, I remember thinking the money wasn't even that exciting. I was like, and I made a lot of money. And I remember telling myself, I was like, I was standing out just right out here in my driveway one night, and I was like, man, yeah, I just sold my company and I made a lot of money, but I had a lot of really good people that helped me get here that I don't have anymore. And I took all of my employees and all of that for granted. I thought they all hated me. I thought it was all the employees. I damn sure thought all of them hated me because I ran it so tight, you know. But that was the biggest learning lesson of my life for me in business. Was I was like, man, what the hell did I do that for? I just got rid of something that a lot of people dedicated a large portion of their life to this. I'm talking my dad, Boom, Flash, my go-tos, Dale. You know, the people that mattered there. Britt, my mechanic. I mean, or he ran the shop. That shop never shut down. But what I'm saying is, you find out you don't know what you got till it's gone, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, man, I don't have those people around anymore. Because used to just be like, hey, Flash, we need a shop over there, 30 by 50. Okay, you want it done by the end of the week? Yeah. Okay. Here's what I need for materials. Give me your credit card. And it was done. Now all of a sudden it's, you know what I mean? It just, you realize that, yeah, I had a lot of good qualities of what I did, but if it wasn't for my dad and Boom, it wouldn't have worked.
So how many people were working there when you sold it, or at the height of it?
The first one probably 40 to 50, somewhere in there. Down south, we got up to we were almost up to 100 people down there.
I didn't know that. I thought
now the enormity of the concrete business up here was way bigger up here. Smaller concrete company down there, but dude, we had 4 or 5 roll-off trucks. We had an office in Victoria, San Antonio, getting one in Austin. I had an office in McKinney. I had over 350 it may even be 375 to 400 of all those roll-off dumpsters that I had. I had 35 acres in San Antonio that was just our yard to hold our containers. That's how many containers we had.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We had we were getting we did a lot of that. That's where a lot of some of the money that I lost in that business. We did a lot of that cleanup in Houston. We had dumpsters scattered from Corpus to Houston to San Antonio to Austin. I was about to start opening up this McKinney office. I had some land up in Van Alstyne, and I was about to, yeah. That was that dumpster business was the beginning of Shamrock Environmental and Remediate. That was the beginning. That's what we wanted to do with that. That's how all that morphed.
Yeah, when you need one of them damn dumpsters, you need one. There's no substitute for, unless you want to make 12 trips to the frickin', to dump with your pickup truck. Man, nobody wants to go to the dump once, let alone 12 times.
That's another thing about that business, man. Is it's a very it's competitive. Now you grow quick. I grew that company, and we were at that level. I think it was 5 trucks and call it 400 dumpsters, because it was close. It was over. I remember getting my last load, and my salesman was like, "You're up to 375 now," or something like that. It was over 350, and I did that less than 6 months. That's how big it got. Dude, I had that concrete plant up and going in like, it took us about 3 months to get it all up and running, but we went from zero business to running 20 trucks in less than 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Those businesses go.
See, that'd be some good advice there. You know, people want to, hell yeah, man, I want to grow this thing. You better be ready to grow if it takes off.
That was a business that service meant everything. If you half-assed a customer, if you didn't have enough trucks, especially in the concrete thing, you leave people out there waiting, pouring concrete, and they are freaking mad. You got to have that. It's all about service. You know, and if you don't have enough to keep up, that's what kills you. You know, but that's what I'm good at is the big. You know what I mean? Like that. After going from that, and I was talking about getting back into the home services business, I was just sitting there going, "What is this?" You know, it's like looking. I've got a chainsaw over here. Am I going to cut the tree with a pocket knife? I'm going to use a chainsaw. You know what I mean? But it was the big. I understand that big. And I know the path to get there and what can happen from here to there. And
I laughed at you when you were going to get back in the service business. I'm like, I'm trying to get out of the service business. And you're like, oh, no, man. If you do it right, it's great. It's like, I don't want to do it at all.
Well, I forgot.
I don't want to do what it takes.
I forgot what it was like to deal with homeowners.
It's just brutal.
No, if I don't have to deal with the homeowners, then we're fine. I can build it. It's when I have to put up with the all that. See, that's where you say me and Rich are alike. That's because he's got people that he's like, oh yeah, all you got to do is this. Because he just pawns it off to somebody to get it done, and that happens. Now, I used to work. You know how I was. I was a hard worker, and I did work. And I did a lot of my own work at first, but I always have figured out a way to get somebody to do that, because the real money's made on building the business. You know, and that's what that whole test about me and my dad. He doesn't want what I want. He didn't want any of that. He just wants his beer and his cigarettes and his stars to look at. That. He doesn't want to build a big company. That's what he used to tell me all the time. You know, he's like, go for it. Whatever's going on in that head of yours up there, go do it. Just tell me what I got to do. But I don't want what you want. I don't. And I'm never going to want it. And I'm not, and it wasn't a matter of who's smarter and who's dumber. He's like, I don't want to think like you. I don't want to. You're to me, you're way out there, man. And to me, I'm sitting there going, do you not see the carrot in front of your face? You didn't care about the carrot. If I want a carrot, I'll go buy a carrot. What do I want your carrot for?
Yeah, what do I need a bag of carrots for?
Hey, you didn't want no shit in his Wheaties.
No, you don't.
Yeah. So that's why I think in a think tank, that's the beauty of that, is it doesn't allow you to be, and that was the beauty behind me booming my dad, is when they found out that, you know, because they would always come up to me and go, well, you're the owner. You must know everything. And it's like, no, I don't. And I don't want to know everything, and I don't want to have to make all these decisions. You see what I'm saying? I'm good under pressure, yes, and y'all have made me good under pressure because y'all bring me all the problems every day. Now, I don't have to know everything. I don't want to know everything. But when we make a decision, we have to be right. Not me. We. And once they understood that, because I wanted their input. Because it's like exactly what I'm talking about with you, is I want you to go, hey, Mark, grab me by the back of my shirt, and you're like, Hank, hang on a second here. Did you think about this? No, I'm not worried about that, Tim. Well, you might want to, because you just walked over 5 of them and you're about to step on 15 of them. Thumbtacks or tacks or nails or whatever.
Well, if we got to get a crane, we'll just get a crane. It's like, well, did you see the power lines right above the alley? Yeah. So, tell me how this crane's going to work out for you and stuffing it in the power line.
Well, that was it in the dumpsters. Those dumpsters. We can have one over there. When do you want it? What time? And they live in the middle of the city in
a duplex.
No, well, yeah, or where it's like a little bitty alley in the back is where you got to get it, and there's power lines and trees and all this, and I'm just like, the driver will figure it out. That's not my problem.
Yeah, but then you better hope the driver doesn't have a meltdown and just shove it through the neighbor's fence.
I'm just using that as an example. I didn't do that. If I had to look at something, I thought it through, but I didn't have to. I had a dispatcher and a guy that took care of that for me. But what I'm saying about, did I lose my train of thought on a damn good.
And I didn't even shoot your wheels off this time.
No. Where was I going with that?
The dumpster and the crane and the power lines and the.
Oh, no. Like, boom. They were my, all right, we got to get this done. Well, Boom would be the guy that goes out there and be like, you were 99% right, but here's the 1% that you missed. And it's a big 1%. Like, this 1% could kill the whole 99 or the 100, and you didn't see it because you were so worried about, your wheels are going. I could have been 99% right, but that was the just like what you talked about. It's that one part that somebody else that thinks a little different than me catches it.
Yeah, we did a job at the hospital there, and there was like 30 rooms on this wing, and we had to retrofit these thermostats to this pneumatic tubing, and it was a lath and plaster wall, so you had to knock a hole in the wall and find this tubing down in there and reroute it. So the first one, they went and they tried. It took about 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So, okay, well, 2 minutes, 3 minutes times 30, that was the only room that was like that. And the rest of those columns were all like solid as hell, and there was pipes galore in there. This one was hollow, and there was nothing in there, and you could look down in with a flashlight and, fish the thing out of there. That was the only one. So maybe the lesson there is you might want to do 2 of those rooms or 3 or 1 in the middle and 1 somewhere. But when you're going to do something 30 times and you do a test 1 time, you better pray to God the other 29 are like it. Yeah. That whipped our butt. And if you bid the job based on it being that easy, how do you get out of it? You can't. You gotta fight your way through it.
Yeah.
It sucked.
Well, that's the whole don't be a most man, that. I mean, do you think it's a good idea? I mean, I'm not saying that this is the only idea of the men's club, but that's kind of the does it make sense to you?
Well, anytime you got people together, smart people, you're going to come out better. I mean, association brings about simulation. You hang out with a bunch of dumbasses, you're probably going to turn into a dumbass.
Yeah, that's
and maybe have fun doing it, yucking it up, But I mean, I got a lot of buddies that it's like, man, I'd never do business with them for a couple various reasons. Some, no, they can't even handle their own life, but they're a blast to run around with.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I know all kinds of people. Well, and there's people who don't want to do business with me probably. They're like, oh, God, just tell me what I'm doing wrong.
Well, that's my point, or part of the point is that I quit school in 9th grade just because I was like, I'm getting nowhere here. And I was already making money in a working for a guy, and But that's where it all began. Is he became my friend. I worked for him. It was a chimney company. We built it up. You know, he was the same thing. He's like, I don't want to go any bigger. If you want to get bigger, go start your own. But what I'm saying is I hung out, all the people from then on, all of my peers I learned from everybody else. I grew up with a single mom and no dad. I didn't have anybody to show me the way. Smarter people is what built me. But I listened to him and I figured it out quick. Thank God. Thank God I figured it out quick, because I was like, man, if I just shut up and listen, just shut up and listen. This guy's got everything that I need to know. And if I'll just listen to him, I can get miles ahead. And it always happened. And all my peers have always been older than me. And it's a lot less drama because you don't have people riding your coattails. Those coattail riders will drown you in a minute.
Yeah, my son loves all my I hang out with people older than me, and my son just loves it. He's like, man, them people are so cool. There's no drama. There's never, what do? They sit around a cigar shop and drink scotch and smoke cigars, and, they might argue about Texas Tech basketball or something, but they just don't get worked up over anything because they've been there, done that. They're just cool people.
Yeah.
But when you're young and you're in the rat race and you're trying to raise a family and you got to make a mortgage and, you're working a job and everybody's making more money than you and they're all, you're like, God, I know these guys are dumbasses. So you either start your own thing or you wait for them to drop off. But if your boss is an idiot, well, then what are you sticking around for? I mean, it's a cumulative effect to just, wear you out, what to do. You don't want to. Yeah. You don't want to waste a bunch of years going nowhere, but some people like, punching a clock and getting a check and having their weekends off. It all depends what you want out of it. And a lot of people want a lot of different things.
Yeah, thank God. And we're gonna end it pretty close on this. And if you want, we can come back and do another one and have a couple of beers.
Sure.
Okay. So. Well, I just to that point is thank God my son and a lot of his friends, but me and my son every night we sit down and have a talk, and I cherish the shit out of it, right? But he's actually listening to me, and I can tell he's miles ahead of his friends. There's a couple of his friends that are, those kids are, man, this new generation of kids is really impressive. I think, I'm not saying this woke weak bullshit that we got going on, but I'm talking like my kid's generation, like we went through the millennial phase of all that bullshit and all that, and then now we're dealing with the woke and all that. But this new generation is pretty, this is going to be interesting, but the biggest dynamic of what me and you, especially you, and I'm learning real quick that I'm getting old. I'm 45, but is that their memory, they get so like what we were talking about, information overload, drinking out of a fire hose. That's what this is to them all day long. They can do anything that my son can do anything. He'll look it up on YouTube. But what my point of that was that he's actually listening. You know what I mean? He's wanting to know.
Not just giving you the yeah to say yeah.
No,
like a contractor, hey, they say yeah too much. Then you got to get to the bottom of it and go, hey, your truck's on fire. Yeah. So then everything that they said yeah to before, about paint that green and move that over there. They didn't hear none of it because they just said yeah to everything. If everybody says yeah, if they say yeah to everything, then they ain't getting it.
Yeah. No. So I just said yeah. So, but I'm just saying this new generation, and even the it's different for them to us. We didn't grow up with a computer in front of our face. We didn't grow up with a phone in front of our face. They did, and that's their new reality. And we're sitting there going, no, they're going to make theirs on the internet. That's where it's at now, or technology. You know, they're not that, but they're smart. They're smart. They're so smart. It's because they've got so much information in front of their face. And that's why.
But you got to be careful. You're not too smart for your own good, too. Because once you get full of your smartness, that's when you can get bit. You got to know where the snakes are hidden.
That's why you got to join the men's club.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, because that's what you're going into the lion's den, but you're coming out. I mean, you're going into the lion's den with a bunch of dudes that know, if you think you know everything, you're going to walk out of there feeling this tall. Because there's 10 other guys in there that know something too. And they will their bullshit meter is right here too. It's pegged.
They've seen it,
seen it, done it. There is no bullshit.
They've heard it all. You can't give them an excuse why you're late.
Or you've got you've got the best idea. If everybody listened to me, no. You get shut down, but it's healthy. It's so healthy because, and it goes back to my point about the concrete is that I did not want to know everything. I wanted a good team around me. I knew what a good team means. You can't get all full in your head. That's what happened to the guy that went out of businesses. He knew they called him a dictator, and he was. That's not neither here nor there, but I'm just saying he wouldn't listen to anybody. I've been doing this 30 something years this way, and that's the way it's going to be.
That checkbook has my name on it, and I'm the one writing the checks.
Yeah,
which is true, but yeah, then when it craters, you're the one going down because you didn't listen to somebody going, "Hey, there's an iceberg ahead," Might want to listen to that idiot.
Yeah.
Because he's got eyes and he sees you're about to do, something really stupid.
Well, no, I used to, and that was the whole other thing about the personality test. And we're going to get out of here real quick. I know I do this. I got to get better at it. But I used to think my dad was the stupidest person on planet Earth until we took that test. And then I found out how smart he was. He was not stupid. Me and him are just not the same. He was good. Man, our schedule was intact. Everything was on time. It goes back to the story of the toilet paper. Everything. Chronological order. I mean, and every box had to be checked. I'm telling you, those drivers that sometimes those Hispanic guys pay cash, or anybody pay cash, it was $100.31. That driver better have the 31 cents or pull it out of your pocket, or it's coming out of your check. I never had to worry about the money not being there, and every red penny accounted for. That's what he was. And to me, I'm just like, I'll count it later. You see, I just grabbed the whole stack. I'm not even worried about the change. I just throw that in a bucket. I'm worried about the green bills. That's all I'm worried about. He was worried about all the pennies. You know how many?
You take care of the cents and the dollars. How's that saying go? You take care of the cents and the dollars take care of themselves.
Yeah.
All right. Read your speech.
Okay. Yeah. So that I wanted to hit on the joining the men's club, what it's all about, or what it's going to be about. Comment, please, if you have any ideas, objections, interjections, ideas, want to be a part. We want to grow those things, and so but be sure to like, subscribe, comment, ring the bell, and comment, so we know. Trust me, if I can get over my fear of that camera, you're not going to hurt my feelings in the comments. If you think I'm an old ugly bastard, tell me. I'm fine with that because I probably am. You know, it's no big deal. Just say it how it is. But if you have any ideas or not ideas, but if you need to email, it's info@themostmen.com.
Yeah, the most men, not man. Men.
Yeah, the most men. And then our website, that's jointhemensclub.com goes to, it's mostmen.com is where it is.
Show them the man card there.
Yeah, it's info@themostmen.com, contact@themostmen.com, and jointhemensclub.com. And
you get a numbered card too, so you want to get that low number so you can brag when the numbers are big. You can go, I got in on the ground floor.
Yeah. We're on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, iHeart, and that's audio only. So, yeah, this was good. We didn't even have a beer. We'll have a beer on the next one.
That's what we'll do. It's raining out.
Is it?
Yep. So that sounds like beer weather.
Okay. Well, thanks for watching, guys. We're going to wrap this one up. We're going to take a break and come back. Y'all have a good one. Thanks.